Hey friends, tonight we stumble into the gritty, glorious, and often completely unhinged world of the Silk Road, where every business idea is terrible, every camel has an attitude, and somehow, one unfortunate traveler keeps turning dust and regret into accidental revolutions. So before you unpack your invisible backpack and uncork that bottle of overpriced desert air, take a moment to like this video and subscribe, but only if you actually enjoy watching history unravel with extra drama and a side of goat-related chaos. And hey, let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is, especially if you're currently considering quitting your job to sell bottled wind. We've all been there. Now, dim the lights, maybe wrap yourself in something that doesn't smell like fermented yak butter, and let's slide into tonight's journey together, where our unnamed hero joins a caravan and immediately regrets everything. Thieves, taxes, and too many tolls. Where all your money goes to die. You've made it out of the desert. You should be celebrating. You should be rolling in silk, spitting pomegranate seeds off a palace balcony, whispering, "I did it," into the wind. Instead, you're broke. Why? Because the Silk Road doesn't just take your energy and sanity, it takes your wallet and punches it in the kidneys for good measure. The toll booth that looked like a lemon stand, it starts simple. You're riding toward the next town, dreaming of bathhouses and normal food that doesn't contain camel hair. Then, out of nowhere, a booth. A man in a vest. A very smug donkey. He holds up a sign. Toll. 3 silver per wheel. Camel feet count. You laugh. He doesn't. You argue. Camels don't have wheels. Feet are not taxable assets. This is a public road. He says, this is a toll road, and your camel looks expensive. You pay. He hands you a receipt. It's in Latin. It says, congratulations, you've been robbed legally. Your translator claps sarcastically. Your camel bites the toll officer. Small win. The bandits with business cards. 2 days later, you get robbed. Not in a dramatic, knife-to-the-throat kind of way. More like customer service theft. A group of 5 men stops your caravan. They bow politely. The leader says, "Greetings, respected traveler. For your safety, we are now robbing you." You're confused. He hands you a brochure that IT outlines. Package tiers, optional looting for premium members, and a 10% discount if you refer a friend. You blink. He smiles. We are unionized, he adds proudly. They take 4 bolts of cloth, 2 jars of honey, and your favorite spoon. You will miss it dearly. They leave behind a survey, a receipt, and a cinnamon bun. You eat the bun. You cry into the receipt. The taxman cometh and stays. You arrive at a checkpoint run by the Trade Regulation Authority. Sounds fancy. It's 3 tents, 5 men with clipboards, and a man named Kadir who's memorized every tax law since the beginning of language. He asks, "Are these silks dyed or natural? Were your almonds roasted in a taxable region? Did you declare your camel as cargo or sentient companion?" You try to argue. He holds up a scroll longer than your will to live. He quotes something called the Spice Movement subsection 7.3. Export sneeze duties. Yes, sneeze duties. Apparently, if your spice causes sneezing, it's a weaponized irritant and therefore taxable. You pay. Again. Kadir smiles. He gives you a receipt that smells like ink and judgment. The town with 47 taxes and 1 angry parrot. In the city of Balasagan, you encounter a marvel of bureaucracy at the gate. They ask you, city tax, dust footprint tax, foreign sandals tax, camel bladder inspection fee, Parrot Aggression Fund. Don't ask, you'll find out. You pay everything except the last one. I don't own a parrot, you say. They shrug. But our parrot might attack you. So, you refuse. 5 minutes later, a parrot dive bombs your head. You scream. You trip. You land in camel dung. The guard stamps your parrot incident report and says, "Now you pay." You pay. The parrot cackles. The temple donation shakedown. You stop at a temple for rest. You light a candle. You make a wish. You drop a coin and a monk smiles at you and says, "Oh, you're a merchant. You need the extended blessing." You say, "I'm good with the regular one." He shakes his head. If your caravan isn't blessed 4 times, your silk will unravel in shame. You try to leave. They block the door with incense stands. You donate 1 pouch of saffron, 2 prayer beads, and a small jade turtle. You regret this one most. They chant a blessing that sounds suspiciously like tax code. You walk out spiritually cleansed and financially destroyed. The Translators Union demands one night, while counting what's left of your money, 5 coins and a button, your translator clears his throat. "I want a raise," he says. You laugh. He doesn't. He slides over a parchment. It's titled Translator Compensation and Trauma Reimbursement Proposal. Items include bonus for every misunderstanding avoided, compensation for every time you almost sold yourself into slavery, emotional damage fee for goat wedding incident, hazard pay for mirage chases. You argue. He points to the clause. If demands are unmet, translator may switch allegiance to rival merchant. You sigh. You pay him in 1 bronze coin, a scarf, and a heartfelt apology. He accepts. You remain friends, barely. The toll that broke your soul. You approach a narrow pass. Beautiful, silent, blocked by 3 men and a velvet rope. Welcome to the Royal Mountain Path. They say you're tired, you're broke. You ask, "How much?" They say, "Only 1 coin per breath." You stare at them. They nod. Each breath, friend. You walk away. They call after you, but it includes a free prayer. You flip them off with both hands. Your camel does too with its tail. You choose the longer route. It rains. You cry. The one honest toll collector after weeks of pain. You meet a boy in a village. He holds a sign, "Toll 1 story." You ask, "You don't want money?" He shakes his head. "Tell me something true. That's enough." You sit. You tell him about the apricot incident, the goat bride, the parrot attack, the raisin scam of Merv. He laughs so hard. He gives you a jar of pickles as a bonus. You leave smiling. No receipt, no survey. Just pickles and peace. It's the best toll you've ever paid. You learn to hide your wealth badly. Eventually you learn, hide coins in your shoe. Sew gems into your robe hem. Never carry raisins. Too many memories. But you're bad at it. Your camel eats one of your coin pouches. Your robe gets confiscated by a monk again. You bury a chest of silver behind a rock. Come back 2 hours later and it's gone. Replaced by a note. "Thanks. Needed it." Desert Bandit #4 You scream into the sky. The sky doesn't answer. But your translator whispers, "At least they left a note this time." By the time you reach the next city, you're 50% poorer, 30% angrier, 20% more suspicious of birds. You've learned to smile during extortion, cry during accounting, and accept that tolls will come for your soul, your sandals, and your soup. But you're not dead. You still have a half-bald camel, a translator with questionable ethics, and a sack of silk hidden in your underpants. Don't ask how, just know it's there. You ride on. Because the Silk Road doesn't care how much money you had. Only how many stories you bring home. And you've got plenty. You finally make a profit and then immediately lose it again. Let's be clear. You didn't come all this way for spiritual enlightenment. You didn't cross sandstorms, rogue monks, and philosophical camels to find yourself. You came for profit, for gold, spice, and the kind of success that makes your neighbors write angry poems behind your back. And somehow, miraculously, it's finally happening. You reach a border city. You trade your last bolts of silk, the ones hidden in your pants for 300 miles, for 3 chests of peppercorns, nutmeg, and something called dragon salt, probably just spicy sand, but it sells. Merchants applaud you. You cry tears of disbelief. Even your camel nuzzles you with something like respect. You, my friend, are finally a real Silk Road merchant. Step 1. Count your profit. You and your translator set up camp and begin the ceremony known as counting the loot. You open the first chest, shimmering black peppercorns, worth their weight in silver. The second chest, flawless nutmeg, the kind that makes cooks cry in joy. The third, dragon salt, glowing faintly, spicy enough to start wars or at least ruin a dinner party. You tally your estimated profit. Enough to buy a house, a better camel. Maybe even a small army of accountants. You hug your translator. You both shout into the sky, "We did it!" The camel snorts. The wind carries your joy across the desert. You sleep soundly that night. Fools, step 2. Get ambushed by bureaucracy. You ride to the next trading post. You hand over your goods to the local buyer. He sniffs the pepper, bites the nutmeg, sprinkles some dragon salt on a boiled egg. He nods, deeply impressed. You smile. Then he says, "Oh, you didn't pay the spice registry fee in Tashkent." You blink. What now? He pulls out a scroll the length of your future disappointment. According to Section 11B of the Spice Circulation Regulation Act, all merchants must register every spice they carry, submit samples for olfactory taxation, and bribe someone named Uncle Farid. You try to reason. He shrugs and says, "Look, I love a good nutmeg, but the law's the law. You have 2 choices. Pay a third of your profit in bribes and forms, or leave with your spices unsold." You pay through clenched teeth. Your camel watches silently. Step 3. The thief with a heart of Mayu finally make a sale in a quieter village. You trade half your nutmeg for coins, gems, and 1 jade figurine that may or may not be cursed. You celebrate, buy food, sleep in a real bed. You even consider buying a second camel. Then, disaster. In the morning, you wake up to find 1 chest missing, a broken window, and a note that reads, "Sorry, I needed it more than you." "Not sorry." You scream. The innkeeper shrugs. "This happens," he says. Eating your leftover figs, you file a complaint with the local guard. They nod sympathetically, then steal your sandals for evidence. Your translator whispers, "At least they left a note this time." You consider quitting. Step 4. The market crash, literally. You drag your remaining goods to the main city, a bustling hub where silk dreams go to either thrive or spontaneously combust. You're finally in position to sell your dragon salt for triple value. You set up your stall. Customers gather. Point one man tastes the salt and screams, "My tongue is burning. I see the future." Everyone cheers. You're about to make your biggest sale ever. Then someone yells, "Fire!" You turn. The spice stall next door is on fire. The flames leap. People panic. Camels flee. A barrel of turmeric explodes. Your goods are kicked, scattered, stomped on. You grab what you can. Run for your life. In the aftermath. You save your money pouch. Your camel survives. But the dragon salt is gone. Gone. Melted, possibly summoned a fire spirit. You're not sure. Step 5. Emotional bankruptcy. Back at camp, you sit in silence. You have burnt shoes, a spice-stained robe, and a half-eaten boiled egg in your pocket. Your translator pats your back. "At least we're not dead." You nod, then whisper, "But I almost bought property." He sighs. "We all almost bought property." Even your camel lies down and stares at the sky like a broken poet. You've tasted wealth, and like all things on the Silk Road, it has left you broke and emotionally compromised. Step 6. A glimmer of hope and delusion. A stranger appears, old, bearded, smiling like someone who's never paid taxes. He offers you a deal. "I hear you're carrying rare saffron. I'll pay in gold." You pause. "I don't have saffron." He grins. "Then go get it. I'll be here for 3 weeks." You look at your translator. He says, "It's dangerous." You look at your camel. It spits. You look at your nearly empty pouch. And like an idiot, you say yes. Because you've learned nothing, because you're still chasing that one good deal, because the Silk Road isn't a place, it's a curse you can't stop loving. And because even after losing everything, you'll risk it all again for the dream of one more profitable, ridiculous, completely unhinged adventure. Saffron heists, desert gangs, and a camel that might be cursed. You've said yes. Because that's who you are now. The kind of person who hears "go find saffron in the deadliest region known to man," and replies, "Sure, I've got nothing to lose except my dignity and one good kidney." So you pack your things. A half-burnt map, 3 dried figs, a robe that smells like roasted camel, and the last ounce of optimism clinging to your soul like a flea. Your translator sighs deeply and mutters, "At this point, I'm just here for the drama." Your camel bites a rock. You leave before you change your mind. The land of saffron and mild hysteria, you head into Khorasan, the saffron capital. Everyone talks about saffron like it's liquid gold that screams softly when harvested, and apparently, it only blooms a few weeks per year. Each flower must be hand-picked at dawn, and the farmers carry knives and questionable morals. Sounds great. When you arrive at a small saffron-growing village, you approach a vendor and say, "I want saffron." He laughs so hard he drops a bucket of goat milk. "You, a stranger, buying our saffron during harvest week? Ha!" You blink. He points to a hill and says, "Only one man sells saffron to outsiders. His name is Arash. He owns the fields. He owns the guards. He once threatened a Mongol with a soup spoon." You thank him. He winks and whispers, "Also, don't mention the cursed camel." You nod slowly. Your translator raises an eyebrow. Meeting Arash the spice tyrant, you find Arash at the top of a hill, sitting on a throne made of crates, petting a black chicken like it's a Bond villain's cat. He's short, muscular, and has the eyes of a man who's betrayed at least 17 cousins. You say, "I want saffron." He says, "I want silence." You stand there awkwardly for 6 minutes. Then he adds, "Fine, saffron, 10 gold per gram." You choke. "That's robbery." He shrugs. "This is robbery country." You try to negotiate, he throws a chicken at you. You leave, slightly scratched, heavily insulted, and very much broke. Your translator mutters, "Honestly, I like the chicken more." The plan: steal the saffron that night, over a dinner of regrets and stale bread. Your translator leans in and whispers, "What if we didn't buy the saffron?" You freeze. He continues, "Arash stores it in a stone hut, guarded by 3 mercenaries and 1 very dramatic goat." You stare at him. He shrugs. "We've done dumber things." You agree. You make a plan, distract the guards, break in through the side window, take 1 chest of saffron, escape before sunrise. Don't die. You assign roles. You, the strategist, aka lookout who panics easily. Translator, distraction, camel, emotional support. You fist bump each other. This can't possibly go wrong. It will absolutely go wrong. The heist begins badly. At midnight, you sneak toward the saffron hut. Your translator approaches the guards with a mysterious jar of fermented yogurt and a story about a prophet who rides goats. The guards are confused. The goat is furious. You take the opportunity to climb through the side window. You land in a barrel. The barrel contains fermented donkey pee, for some sort of folk medicine. You scream internally. You push open a crate. There it is, saffron, glowing red, smelling like money and mild hallucination. You grab a chest. You hoist it out the window. Just then, footsteps. A shadow. Who's there? You freeze. Then toss the rest of the saffron at the guard's face and scream, "For the Republic!" No idea why. You run. Translator runs. Camel runs, slowly, but with flair. The goat gives chase. You escape, barely. You smell terrible. You carry only half a chest of saffron. But it's enough. Or so you think. The gang of spicy doom on the road back. A group blocks your path. 5 riders. Black scarves, daggers, hoarse breath that smells like roasted turnip. Their leader rides forward and says, "Hand over the saffron. We know you stole it." You try to play dumb. Your translator says, "We're spice artists." Your camel farts. It's not convincing. They advance. You prepare to die. But then, a strange wind blows. The leader sneezes. His horse panics. Someone drops a dagger. In the chaos, your camel spins in place like a deranged carousel, knocking over 2 bandits. You shout, "We ride!" Your group flees like drunken fireflies into the night. You don't stop for 3 hours. You don't look back. The curse awakens back at camp. You realize something's wrong. The camel won't sleep. It just stares at the saffron chest. Your translator wakes up screaming in a language you don't recognize. The wind howls strangely. Your fig stash molds instantly. You suspect the saffron is cursed. You consider tossing it. But then remember, gold. You hug the chest tightly and whisper, "I'll risk ghosts for money." Your translator builds a salt circle. Your camel digs a shallow grave, unclear for whom. You sleep, kinda. The sail and the twist. You return to the old man. He's still there. Smiling, he examines the saffron. Smells it. Bites it. Nods. Then says, "Perfect. As promised, gold." He opens a pouch. It shines. You tear up. Then he adds, "Oh, one last thing. Did anyone see you take it?" You hesitate, he stares. You say, maybe a goat? He sighs. Unclean deal. Goat witness. Karma transfer incomplete. You blink. Before you can protest, he throws a handful of powder in the air and vanishes. Vanishes. Your translator faints. Your camel throws up. You open the gold pouch. It's full of gold-painted raisins. You scream. Conclusion. Regret and raisins. You sit. You stare at the fake gold. You question your life, your faith, your entire saffron-based business model. Your translator wakes up and says, next time we sell soap. You nod. The camel coughs up a coin, a real one. You blink. Maybe, just maybe, there's hope. You pocket the coin. You name it redemption. And then you pack your bags, because the Silk Road is long. And you're still broke. But at least now you know how to steal saffron. You join a caravan of poets and accidentally start a war over Tiridun you've sworn off. Saffron, spices, bandits, camels that may or may not be spiritually haunted. You decide, for once in your tragic merchant life, to travel with a proper caravan and no solo journeys and no weird side quests. Just civilized people. You find one heading east with banners that say, Caravan of the Enlightened Wind, words over weapons, tea before trade. Sounds peaceful. Sounds poetic. You join. You regret everything in 24 hours. Meet the poets. This caravan isn't made of merchants. It's made of poets. Philosophers. Musicians with no shoes. A guy who only communicates by quoting ancient texts in the wrong language. They write haikus on goatskin, debate whether sadness is heavier than joy, and they do not stop talking. Day 1. You try to sleep. Someone's composing an ode to the shape of your nose. Day 2. A duel breaks out over the proper metaphor for sandstorms. Day 3. Someone brews tea with river water. You nearly die of gastrointestinal irony. Your translator refuses to translate poetry. Your camel starts kicking sonnets out of the air. And yet, there's something comforting about it. No one tries to stab you, and no one taxes your footsteps, and no monks demand donations. It's weird, but it's calm. The tea ritual on the 6th day. They hold a sacred tea ceremony. The leader, a woman named Sophia the Serene, announces, today, we share the leaves of peace, grown in the hills of Badakhshan, picked under moonlight, brewed with clarity. Everyone nods like she just quoted a god. You're handed a tiny cu, but it smells like wet grass and self-importance. You drink. You try to smile. Your tongue dies a little. Your camel sniffs the cup and walks away, shaking its head. The invasion of the bitter leaf that night. Disaster strikes. A rival caravan. The order of the boiling truth arrives. They storm in, riding fat mules and wielding scrolls as weapons. Their leader, Baba Murad, shouts, your tea is weak. Your poetry lacks punch. Your metaphors are soggy. Gasps echo through the dunes. Sophia stands. Her voice is calm, but her eyebrows declare war. You dare insult the tea of moonlight? We drink stormleaf, boiled with volcanic ash. Baba roars. Then you drink violence. She hisses. You stand in the middle, holding your cup. You whisper to your translator, this is about tea, right? He nods grimly. And philosophy, but mostly tea. The tea-off begins. Both sides gather around a fire pit. Rules are declared. No actual weapons. Duel by verse, judged by volume and metaphor density. Final round. Brew off. You're assigned to Team Moonlight because your robe is less stained. Your job? Brew support. You cry softly into the kettle. Round 1. Poetic combat. A poet named Layla steps forward. She declares, "Your words are dry like stale cumin. Our rhymes bloom like saffron at dawn." The crowd goes oj. Baba Murad counters, "Your similes crawl. Ours gallop on thunder-laced camels." Crowd wheezes in poetic appreciation. That it escalates fast. Drums, clapping. Someone juggles scrolls. A llama dances, no one knows why. Round 2. Brewing mayhem. Yuri thrust into the circle. It's your turn to brew tea that captures the essence of your caravan. You have dried leaves, goat milk, honey, and deep spiritual confusion. You mix, you stir, you chant something that sounds vaguely mystical but is actually just you reciting cheese names in Latin. You pour. Baba's team brews storm leaf with black pepper. And regrets. Judges sip, cough, gasp, cry. Then a vote. It's a tie. Both brews are horrible in different, equally poetic ways. Then everything breaks suddenly. A third group arrives, merchants, real ones, with actual guards and real weapons, and no patience for poetry. They scream, "You're blocking the pass. Move." Sophia says, "We are resolving deep conflicts of the soul." They say, "We have 30 carts of garlic and an army of deadlines." Tensions explode. Someone throws a teacup. A goat panics. Someone screams, "Metaphor attack." A scroll is set on fire. A flute becomes a weapon. You're caught in the middle. You try to escape. You trip over a kettle. You land in someone's poem. Literally, a scroll wraps around your face. Escape. Again, your translator grabs you. Your camel body slams a lute player. You run. Past. Flaming banners, fainting philosophers, and a man arguing with a tree about meaning. You make it out. Again, smoky, traumatized, but alive. Reflection. At dawn you camp outside the ruins of the tea duel. You sip leftover goat milk. You stare at the stars. Your translator asks, "What did we learn today?" You say, "Don't trust poets with weapons. Don't drink tea made near llamas. Never join a caravan that names itself after wind." He nods. Your camel farts in agreement. And then, you pull out a scroll. You write your first poem. "On this long road of dust and lies, I brewed bad tea and almost died twice. If fortune favors the rich and the loud, why am I broke and not even proud?" You smile. It's terrible, but it's yours. You try to sell fake gems and accidentally become a prophet. Let's recap. You fled a poetic tea war, wrote a terrible scroll poem, and swore you'd never get involved in weird nonsense again. You meant it. You truly did. But then a man in a velvet hat waved a ruby at you and said, "You want to make real money?" You nodded. Like the absolute fool you are. The fake gem hustlery introduced to jewel master Hakim, who speaks in third person, wears 12 rings on each hand, and smells faintly of burning incense and fraud. Hakim whispers, "We polish glass. We dye pebbles. We sell dreams." You ask, "Isn't that illegal?" He replies, "Only if the buyer stops believing." You're hired. Your job: polish fake gems, sell them to overexcited traders, and never admit they aren't real. Easy enough. You're given a bag of fire rubies, painted marbles, a book of fake gem facts, sapphires cure loneliness, and one instruction: look mysterious at all times. You practice your mysterious stare in the mirror. It mostly looks like constipation. The first sale you approach your first mark, a young noble from the steppes. You say, "This emerald was blessed by monks who only eat fog." He gasps. "Will it help me attract women?" You nod slowly and say, "Only the kind who appreciate shadows." He buys 5, your translator is speechless. Your camel rolls its eyes. Trouble brews again. Things go well for 3 days. Too well. You're selling diamond dew, phoenix stones, and dragon topaz like hot dumplings. People chant your name. Someone draws a mural of your face. You begin to believe your own lies. But then, the gem inspector arrives. A woman named Tamina the Toothless, feared across 3 regions. She approaches your stall and says, "Let me see your sapphires." You hand one over, smiling confidently. She sniffs it, bites it, then says, "This is dyed sand." You freeze. "No, no," you say. "It's ancient dyed sand." She narrows her eyes. You prepare to run. But before she can yell fraud, a crowd gathers and someone, drunk, maybe inspired, yells, "He's not a merchant. He's a prophet." You blink. Tamina blinks. The crowd gasps. Someone faints. "Congratulations. You're a prophet now." You're rushed onto a makeshift platform. Someone hands you a staff. Another drapes a shawl over your shoulders. Children throw flower petals. You whisper to your translator, "What's happening?" He replies, "They think your gems are symbolic. Your lies are riddles. Your nonsense is prophecy." You try to explain. They shout over you, "The prophet of the crystal truth." You raise a hand to calm them. They cheer louder. Tamina kneels. You die inside. The cult of shiny things. By sunset, you have a following of 27 loyal believers, a scroll of your teachings, written by a goat herder who misheard you, and a donation box full of pomegranates. Every time you say anything, anything at all, it becomes gospel. You say, "I need water." They write, "The prophet thirsts for purity." You say, "Watch out. I stepped in camel poop." They write, "He warns us of impurity on the path." You try to sell a fake opal. They scream, "The eye of destiny." You stop arguing. You sit down. You sip tea. You sigh, "I miss lying for money." Things get weird. A rich merchant offers his daughter's hand in marriage to honor the crystal flame. A caravan of monks arrives, hoping you'll bless their journey. Someone gives you a live chicken to read its aura. You say you want to leave. They cry. They build you a shrine made of discarded jewel boxes. Your camel begins wearing beads and charging tourists for photos. You've lost control. Completely. The final straw. One night, lightning strikes a nearby hill. Your followers scream, "The prophet is angry." You shout, "No, I'm not." They fall to their knees. Even his denials are divine. You scream into a cushion. Your translator now wears a robe and insists on calling you "Your Gemness." The camel now only responds to drum beats. You realize, you must escape tonight. The great prophet exit plan. You gather your things. A pouch of real money from all the donations. 1 bag of fake gems, a stolen chicken for protein, and your last shred of sanity. You wait until midnight. You sneak past your shrine. You step over 2 snoring believers using gem boxes as pillows. You mount your camel. You whisper, "Let's go." before someone offers us another goat. You flee into the night, the morning after you wake in the middle of nowhere, free, dusty to finish. You look back toward the camp. You see smoke. The cult has built a giant effigy of you, made entirely from broken jewelry and lies. They chant something that sounds like "He will return." You shudder. You ride away. Reflection again, your translator finally breaks the silence. That was something. You nod, you whisper. Let's never speak of this again. He agrees. The chicken clucks solemnly. Even the camel seems quieter. You've learned a valuable lesson, which is, apparently, that people will believe anything if you say it with confidence and wear enough shiny junk, and with that, you head toward the next town. Because your journey isn't over, and let's face it, you're still broke.